for your second album, you wrote over 90 songs.
Yeah.
How many did you write for Behold, your new album?
80.
80.
Yeah.
So it's getting less.
Yeah.
And when does the process start of selecting all these songs? Which am I going to put on the album and which not?
Well, it begins the minute. For me, it begins the minute you start recording. Because, well, I write songs all the time, and sort of collect ideas, and then when you sort of decide on a studio and a producer, you start narrowing it down, and you often have, like, let's say, well, I always have like 3-5 favorite tracks that I know is definitely gonna be on, and they often, for me, they sort of show the way, because if they are in this direction, you can't just take something from up here and well, you can, but and then I try to this time I narrowed it down to 25 and ended up recording 18 of them, and 13 is on the record.
What happened to the last 5 that you recorded? Why aren't they in?
Well, it was a matter of getting a whole together, and I definitely killed some darlings there, because it was down to, let's say that this song is very close to this one, and I would rather spread it out so you get a broader picture, because this is an international debut, so it's important for me to show me as an artist, but then I can do a very narrow release in 3 years' time, where it's just me and a guitar, but this time I would like to show the bigger picture. So they're still there, and maybe some, I mean, I love the recordings, so maybe you could say that I could potentially have half a second record.
Yeah, and in this iTunes era, it's easy to release.
Yeah.
All the other ideas of that 80, are they somehow finding its way to new songs as well, or is it just that's behind me? And
well, every time I write a song, I learn something, and if you write 5 songs in a row, you might write 4 bad songs, and then the 5th song is becoming very good because of the previous 4. So you might take a good idea from this and from that, or combine stuff. But there's a lot of the songs that I don't use myself that I'm trying to figure out what to do with, and I think about maybe presenting them to other artists, or just saving it for B-sides. Sometime these days it's always good to have extra material, and at some point, I mean, maybe sometime I can just play a new song every day, 365 days in 1 year's time, and put it up on YouTube, and that'll be a funny thing.
Yeah, the live captured in a song.
Yeah.
In songs. Yeah. Is your music, does it capture the things you experience, or the way you live, or are they just separate things?
Well, it's a combination, I'd say, because most of my songs, they come out of the love of playing around with words and melodies, and then sort of it takes form in the process, and afterwards when the song is there, I have to get to know it as well. I have to find my own meaning to the words and everything. And other times, I might have a very strong feeling inside that I just need to get down in a song, and then I do that. So it's a very dynamic process, and that's also why, I feel so privileged to do what I do, because you never know what the next song will bring. It's always different. But all of my songs are very personal, because once you have the song, you make it your own. You take it into your heart, and then you sort of deliver it through your heart, so even though might not be heartbroken from that song, that's what it feels like when I sing it. So.
Can you also still relate to the earlier songs you wrote? Yeah,
I mean, it's a diary, and I haven't heard my first songs in many years, but they're with me, and actually, I don't listen a lot to my own music after finishing it, but I just thought about the other day that I really want to go back and listen to my old stuff soon, because you hear it with different ears after a few years' time. So
maybe we can look back a little bit.
Yeah.
For example, your first album, Attention Please, 2006. Yeah. What kind of mass was that?
That was the very, you know, I just came from the countryside in Skive to Copenhagen, and I had my big record deal, and I was just like, wow, look at me, this is now... I was very naive, I was very enthusiastic about becoming a big star, and and to be honest, I lost focus a little bit on music, which is the main, or the only reason why I do what I do. So and also I didn't know how to make a record. So when I started, I was just, wow, what to do? And then I just discovered, well, I can actually put 50 guitars on this track if I want to, and I didn't really have the bigger picture in my head when I started. So I just did it, and when it was finished, it was there, and yeah, then that was it. Then we put it out, and. So it's a very young record, I'd say, and maybe too much focus on that record was on fitting it for radio and that kind of thing. So
when were you ready to leave that thing of like, this has to be on radio? When could
well,
you
I have
leave
to say that my previous record label had a big part in me losing my focus, because they, you know, they said to anyone they met before we released the album that this is the next big superstar and he's gonna sell this and that, and when you come directly from nowhere, you of course you trust them. I was completely new in the business, and I just expected to become a star because they told me that I would become that. But as it often happens, when something is overhyped, then, you know, the media just, you know, gives you the finger afterwards when it comes out, because of course this record wasn't a masterpiece, but I think it's a very good debut for a very young guy, but that's never where we came to, because they basically just, they had been told that it was a masterpiece from the record label. So the minute it came out, it flopped. And that's where I sort of woke up and said, yeah, they're actually right. Where have I been?
Were you disappointed?
Yeah, very. Yeah, I was. It was tough, to be honest. But today, I mean, I'm grateful for it all today, because I learned to really appreciate success.